Hey, welcome back to Reawakening the Primal Instinct podcast. This is your host, Brad Jones, and I wanted to give you an update. Basically, our hunting season is over here in Indiana. We still got some small game. I could go rabbit hunting or squirrel hunting anytime I feel like it, pretty much. In fact, I may go tomorrow. Haven't decided. What I really wanted to go over, though, is kind of what went well this year, what didn't go well this year, and maybe some future goals, future purchases, maybe some changes I want to make, that kind of thing. So the big one for me was waterfowl hunting. There were two things that we did not have as a group, my group that went, that we really need to get. The first one is a boat. Now, I can't afford a big boat, and really the guys that I hunt with, none of us are really in a position to be able to go buy a big boat. So I've been looking at kayaks, and the nice thing about a kayak is obviously you can use it for fishing as well. Obviously you can use a boat for fishing as well too, but it's easier when you're going by yourself. If I'm going fishing by myself, or if I'm gonna go duck hunting by myself, it's just easier to throw everything in a kayak and go. So for kayaks, I'm looking at a few different models and trying to decide which one I want to get. The first one that kind of my ideal, if I could afford it, would be a Jackson, brand new, they just released it this year, the Jackson Big Rig HD. You can also get that in a pedal drive. I don't really want the pedal drive. Maybe I will once I get it. The nice thing is, if I decide I do want it, you can buy the pod separately, and then you can convert your HD to a pedal drive. It's got a really high weight capacity. I think it's 550 pounds, might be 600 even. It's a really stable kayak, which is a great thing. Obviously, I don't weigh anywhere near 500 or 600 pounds, but for waterfowl hunting, you're wearing heavy waders, heavy clothes, carrying a dozen decoys, and all that stuff starts adding up. You add in a gun, 25 shells, shotgun shells, and all of a sudden your weight starts creeping up on you. So the first one, if and it's the most expensive of the ones I'm looking at, is the Big Rig HD from Jackson Kayaks. Another one, kind of almost in the same price range, not quite as expensive, is the Attack 140 from Wilderness Systems, and it's a 14-foot kayak. Another one with a high weight limit, 500 or 600 pounds. And the nice thing about the Wilderness Systems, it has a seat that will recline. And so you can put it in a reclined position and for waterfowl hunting. So you're basically looking up at the sky, watching the birds come in, put you in a pretty good shooting position as well. Also another really stable kayak. Just a price point down from that, I'm looking at the New Canoe Frontier 12. From everything I've been reading and the YouTube videos I'm watching, it is probably the most stable of the kayaks I'm looking at. It is, it does have a 600-pound weight limit, and it's like I said, it's supposed to be just extremely stable. The downside is it doesn't track quite as well, and it also does not come with a rudder. The rudder's kind of an important piece, especially if you're fishing bigger waters and you're really trying to get straight, or if you're hunting bigger waters and trying to track real straight. The nice thing is it is really easy to put a motor on. It's made with square back, and you can easily mount a electric motor or up to a 2.5 horsepower motor. So that's another one I'm looking at. And then the last one, which is kind of in the what I would consider the budget range, is the Vibe Seaghost 130. I'm really considering getting that kayak. It's around $900 or less. 550-pound weight limit. It's a little narrow, but all reports I'm getting is that it's really stable. And because it's narrow, it tracks easier. It's a little faster than some of the bigger kayaks. It's also relatively light. Comes in at 74 pounds, whereas the other ones are all heavier than that. The new canoe's not too bad. It's well under 100, but the Attack 140 and the Jackson Big Rig are pretty heavy kayaks. So the Vibe Seaghost 130 is one that I'm looking at pretty strongly as well. So that's for waterfowling. That's kind of the one big change that I would make. The second big thing that we're going to need, we realized this year, is a dog. None of the three of us have a retrieving dog. So I may not be able to do all of this in the same year. Maybe a kayak this year, and then trying to talk my wife into a good hunting dog next year. The dogs I'm looking at, obviously a lab is high on the list, right? Especially if you're just doing waterfowl, or you're mainly doing waterfowl with a little bit of upland hunting. Not sure I want a lab. They're huge for duck hunting off of a kayak. They're a little big for that. So I'm looking at some of the versatile hunting dogs. And if you don't know what that is, go take a look at NAVHDA, NAVHDA. They're the Versatile Hunting Dog Association. And so those dogs are bred to pretty much do everything. The blood trail, they point. All of the NAVHDA dogs are pointers. Most of them are pretty good in the water. And specifically, two breeds that I'm looking at are, one is called a poodle pointer, P-U-D-E-L pointer. So poodle pointer, no, it is not a poodle cross like we typically think of, like a Labradoodle or whatever. The poodle pointer is actually one of the oldest hunting breeds in the world. They're kind of rare in the U.S., but they were the base dog for the German Wirehair pointer, or Deutsche Drahthaar. They're a little smaller than a lab. Supposedly work water really well. They love to swim. They love to retrieve on the water. So that would be a high dog on the list. And then the other one is a small Münsterlander, and I've been researching a lot of them as well. They're a little smaller. They're more about the size of a Brittany Spaniel, maybe a little bigger. Again, fantastic water dogs. The other thing I like about them is people are using them for hunting rabbits, squirrels, along with upland birds, and using them in the water. So those are the big things that I would personally change for waterfowl hunting. For deer hunting, it's pretty obvious that I'm going to need to get a tree stand. Here in the Midwest, it's almost impossible to hunt from the ground, especially bow hunting. Just to try and get deer in range with a bow it's hard. They don't want to come in. You're too easy to see. You're too easy to smell. So I'm looking at getting a tree stand for next year. If you know me, you know I'm a big fella, 6'5", and depending on how well I be behaving myself, somewhere between 275 and 325. So I need a high weight capacity tree stand, preferably a climber, because I like to be on the move. So I'm looking at a few different ones of those as well. And really, right now, I'm kind of gearing up for fishing season. We still got ice on a lot of the lakes around here, and I'm not going to go out. If I get a kayak here soon, I'm not going to go out on a kayak on icy cold water until I'm pretty confident and competent in my kayaking skills. It's not quite as easy as a boat. You've got to keep it upright. And obviously all the kayaks I'm looking at are pretty stable, but still I need to gain some confidence before I'm taking it out on icy cold water. So the tree stand is the big thing I'd change about deer hunting. I need to lock up some more private property. I had one private property this year and didn't hardly see a thing on it. Had pretty decent sightings on public property for deer, but not great. Scouted pretty heavy, and it gets a little crowded during the season. So the next thing I'm going to be hunting will be spring turkey season's coming up here. Unless I go out small game hunting, but I don't necessarily count that. But spring turkey's coming up. I'm going to take a young man out on the youth hunt if he gets his license, which he's supposed to work on. And then I'll be going out myself as well. And then obviously fishing season starts. So hopefully I'll have a kayak before fishing season and can get out on the water more instead of bank fishing. But I will keep you updated as we go. I'm still recording on my phone. Having trouble with my recording system still. Don't forget to find me on Facebook. It's Reawakening The Primal Instinct, and there's both a group and a page. You can send me an email, reawakeningtheprimal@gmail.com. You can also, I do have a Patreon page. It's just search for Reawakening The Primal Instinct. If you'd like to donate, like to become a Patreon, and we'll have some special things coming up. I'm working on a sponsor. I'm not going to reveal who it is yet, but I do have some contacts with a sponsor. That was the other thing I forgot to tell you. I did get sponsored. I'm pro staff for Titan Tungsten. They make weights and hooks and that kind of thing. So, well, I am out of time here. I'm counting down 30 seconds, so I am going to let you go, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to Reawakening the Primal Instinct. This is your host, Brad Jones, and we'll talk to you next time.